The airport clock glared down like a judge when Daniel Harper realized the gate had closed, the final boarding call already swallowed by the roar of a departing engine. His chest tightened, not just because he had missed the flight, but because that flight carried the last fragile hope of keeping his life from completely unraveling. A single father of 3 identical 6-year-old triplets, Daniel stood frozen with his backpack slipping from his shoulder, the weight of exhaustion and guilt heavier than any luggage. The world had not paused for him, even though his heart begged it to. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when people choose compassion, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this remind us that humanity still matters. Daniel's life had become a constant balancing act since his wife, Emily Harper, died 3 years earlier from a sudden illness that left no room for goodbye. Overnight, he became mother and father to Liam, Noah, and Oliver, 3 boys who shared the same face but carried different fears in their eyes. The missed flight was supposed to take Daniel to a job interview in another state, a position that promised stability, health insurance, and a future where his sons would no longer hear whispered arguments about unpaid bills. Now, standing among strangers rushing past him, Daniel felt like he had failed them again. The airport slowly emptied as evening crept in, the polished floors reflecting tired lights and tired people. Daniel sat on a cold metal bench, rubbing his temples, calculating costs he could not afford and futures he could not predict. That was when he noticed her. She sat near the exit doors, wrapped in a worn gray coat that looked far too thin for the winter air. Her hair was tangled, her hands red and cracked, and a small duffel bag rested at her feet like the last proof that she once had more than this. Most people passed her without a glance, but Daniel's eyes lingered, not out of pity alone, but recognition of a familiar loneliness. The homeless woman's name, he would later learn, was Clara Bennett, but in that moment she was simply another soul stranded in a place meant only for passing through. Their eyes met briefly, and she looked away quickly, as if ashamed to be seen. Daniel stood, unsure why he was moving toward her, only knowing that something inside him refused to stay seated. He offered her the sandwich he had bought for the flight, the one he could no longer take. She accepted it with trembling hands, her gratitude quiet and heavy, the kind that comes from not expecting kindness anymore. Time passed differently after that. Daniel listened as Clara spoke about nothing in particular, her voice soft, her words careful, as if afraid they might be taken back. She had once been a nurse, she said, until life collapsed under the weight of bad choices, worse luck, and a system that didn't forgive mistakes. Daniel did not offer solutions, he only offered presence. When the airport announced its closing hours, panic flickered across Clara's face. She had nowhere to go. Against every practical instinct he had, Daniel pulled a spare key from his pocket, the key to his modest apartment where his triplets waited with a neighbor. He placed it gently in Clara's hand, telling her she could stay there for the night, just to be safe, just to be warm. He did not know why he trusted her so completely, only that his heart recognized something broken but not dangerous, something wounded but still good. That night, Daniel slept on a chair beside his son's beds, the missed flight still echoing in his mind, but quieter now. The next morning, life moved forward in small, necessary steps. He made breakfast, packed lunches, and walked the boys to school before heading to work. He did not tell them about Clara, not yet. He assumed she would be gone by the time they returned home, a brief intersection of 2 struggling lives that would fade quietly. But children notice what adults overlook. That afternoon, when Liam, Noah, and Oliver burst through the apartment door, they immediately sensed something different. The air smelled of soup, not the canned kind Daniel usually made, but rich and warm. The apartment looked cleaner than it had in months. And sitting at the small kitchen table was Clara, her hair brushed, her coat folded neatly beside her, her posture straight as if she were trying to remember who she used to be. The triplets were not afraid. They were curious in the pure, unguarded way only children can be. Over the following days, Clara became a quiet presence in their lives. She helped with homework, cooked meals from memory, and listened to the boys talk about their mother with a tenderness that made Daniel's chest ache. He learned that Clara had lost her own daughter years earlier, a truth she carried like a scar beneath her calm exterior. In the boys, she found echoes of what she had lost, and in her, they found a softness they hadn't realized they were missing. Suspense crept in when Daniel received a letter from social services, a routine check triggered by an anonymous report about an unfamiliar adult in his home. Fear wrapped around him like a vice. He imagined losing his sons, imagined that one impulsive act of kindness might cost him everything. Clara saw the fear in his eyes before he said a word. That night, she packed her duffel bag quietly, preparing to leave before causing more harm. But the triplets discovered her secret before she could go. They found old photographs tucked carefully inside her bag, showing a smiling woman in scrubs, holding a little girl with the same gentle eyes Clara still had. They understood then that she was not a threat, but a survivor. Their innocent determination changed everything. They spoke to their teacher, who spoke to a counselor, who saw not danger but a story of resilience and redemption. The investigation ended not with loss, but with unexpected support. Clara was connected with a rehabilitation program and a transitional housing opportunity. Daniel, despite missing his flight, was offered a remote interview for the job he thought he had lost, impressed by his honesty when he explained why he couldn't make it. Weeks later, he received the offer. Life did not become perfect. It became real. Clara moved into her own small apartment nearby, rebuilding her nursing credentials slowly, painfully, but steadily. She became part of the Harper family, not by obligation, but by choice. The triplets learned that kindness can change the direction of a life, including their own. Daniel learned that sometimes missing a flight means arriving exactly where you were meant to be. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and comment, because your engagement helps stories of compassion reach people who need them most. Before the ending, please comment and tell us whether you believe one small act of kindness can truly change a life. On a quiet evening months later, Daniel watched his sons laugh as Clara helped them with a school project, the room filled with warmth and something close to peace. He understood then that the secret his triplets had discovered was not just Clara's past, but the truth that broken people can still build beautiful futures, and that sometimes the greatest journeys begin when a flight is missed and a door is opened instead.